We now continue with Smurf.
I was born in Las Vegas and raised in Nevada until I was 18 years old. When I was in middle school, my house was in the middle of nowhere, north of Vegas, and the two major things near it were a hog farm and a bombing range. I believe in aliens because of personal experience. Often, I don't want to, and I try not to think about it, but I have experienced some weird stuff, and not believing at this point would be not to believe my own senses and memory. I will go into any more detail if there is any interest, but I have no way of proving anything I say to be true. Okay, buckle up, long story. Anyway, let's start by saying that this shit did not begin when I moved to that house. It's impossible to accurately recall events in your life before a certain age, but as far back as I can remember, I've only had a single phobia: gray aliens. I've always been simultaneously drawn to them and terrified of them and UFOs. The image of those eyes resonates with me on some level and just sends shivers up my spine. And although I try to avoid the thought of them now, broaching the topic gets my mind going crazy. You know how some dreams just stick with you, ones you've been having repeatedly since before you can even remember anything about your waking life. Dreams that you forget until you have them again and think, I've had this dream before. Well, that is where this shit starts for me. Back when I was very young, development in Vegas was far less than what it is now. The western part of the city that now comprises suburbs and shopping centers was just empty desert with streets, roadrunners, and a few tumbleweeds. One of the earliest dreams I can remember is of being in my grandma's car with her driving and heading south down Durango in that part of town when it was undeveloped. In the dream, my grandma is taking me south, way south, down that highway towards the desert. Well, I guess it was all desert, but towards the empty Mojave Highway between Vegas and LA. I don't know why we're going, and she is not talking, just driving like she is in a trance. We keep going until we're way the hell out of there, and as we do so, I notice that we are being followed. I see a silvery disc in the sky following at a distance, first in the rearview mirror, then in the side mirror, and pointed out to her. She still says nothing, and after a while, she pulls off to the side of the road, and the dream ends. What gets me about that dream is that it's from before I actually knew that part of town was ever undeveloped. My grandparents never took me there when I was young. I mean, what would be the point? And by the time I started going to that part of town when I could drive, it was developed. I did not find out that it had been all desert as recently as it was until I was in my teens, so there was no way that information could retroactively make its way into my dream. I've checked out pictures of what the area used to look like, and they scare the hell out of me now. Anyway, and I am trying really hard to remember all of this stuff coherently and in chronological order. The earliest time I can remember having that dream was in 2nd grade. When I was in the 3rd grade and my dad remarried and moved, things got a bit more vivid. I recall first having the sensation of flying or floating while I was in my bed, which honestly did not bother me. It was actually rather pleasant on its own, and I looked forward to perhaps flying as I closed my eyes to sleep each night. I thought maybe it was part of my dreaming or falling asleep, and I have been having that sensation occasionally for ages. Well, I got a bit of perspective on that very quickly. I recall having another dream that same year that stuck with me, except that I only had it once. I'm going out towards the sliding door to my backyard late at night for God knows what reason. I think it was to change the dog's water or something, but I might have just been going out back. Anyway, I step outside, and immediately I freeze up. The backyard is all lit up, and there is gray aliens waiting outside for me. All I want to do is go back inside the house and shut the damn door, but I can't move. All I remember beyond that point is them taking me out of the doorway and fully into the backyard. The first dream where I actually saw them, not the last. The next house that we moved to was the aforementioned one up by the bombing range. This was about 5th or 6th grade for me. The years I spent there messed up my sleep patterns permanently. As far as the valley area goes, that place was beyond rural. Like I said, we were by a hog farm and not much else. That area is right in the shadow of Shadow Mountain, and just north of it I could see tons of empty desert stretching toward the base of it. Middle of nowhere Nevada, home of firearms and dirt. Anyway, That house was 2 stories, except that the second story of the house did not completely cover the first one. At the top of the stairs, we had an indoor balcony that you could see the dining room and the living room from, and that balcony formed a T with the hallway that my bedroom and my sister's bedrooms were on. Directly across from that balcony, on the second story, we had 3 very large windows overlooking the mountains just east of us. Those windows were absolute paranoia fuel for me. We saw plenty of strange aircraft as it was out there. Stealth bombers, jets, black helicopters, miscellaneous lights traveling in formation and doing drills, but every night, if I watched from the balcony, I could see them fly in a V formation. I think it was some kind of drill, but I swear to God that these aircraft did not always fly like planes. They hovered and darted or stayed in place for minutes at a time. At night, they just looked like lights too, so that just made it more unnerving. It was there that I developed the habit of always watching the skies, and I've seen some weird shit as a result of my watching. Still, I would have chalked up all the weird stuff to being near a military installation if it weren't for that which came to us personally. Did your parents ever have the same experiences? Yup, my dad anyway. I don't know about my mom. We don't talk about it often, and he never spoke about it at all until I was older. But sometimes he will just broach the topic if we are watching the night sky or alone together on a road trip. He's been saying that kind of stuff since he was a kid, and according to my uncle, used to insist that aliens were underground, out in the desert. We've had one close encounter together. Anyway, that house. That's where I started getting those dreams constantly and experiencing the other stuff. A buzzing noise coupled with a feeling of dread. The feeling of being watched constantly. Waking up where I didn't go to bed, and anger coupled with the urge to stay awake in my sister's room all night with a steak knife and protect her from the monsters. A fear of those 3 windows and the windows in our bedrooms and of my closet for some reason. It started with me having a dread of my own window. My bed was right next to it, and after a while I rearranged my whole room so that my bed could be against a different wall. I developed a habit of sleeping sitting up with my back against the wall. I hated that window. When that did not work, I would ask my dad to sleep in the bed with me. I used to lie and claim that I was afraid of burglars. I didn't want to seem crazy. What scared me was when I finally told the truth. If I said that I was afraid of burglars, I would get reassurance about how it was impossible for us to get broken into. When I said I was afraid of aliens, my dad just gave me a solemn look and told me that there was nothing we could do about such things, not even a denial. I started developing messed up habits after that. I used to roll myself into a sort of burrito with my blankets and tuck the bottom almost into a knot, sleeping on the end so that my weight sealed it shut. I don't know why or when I started doing that, but it was something I had a big compulsion to do. Another thing I started doing, and this is embarrassing, is jacking off until I had no ejaculate left each night. Again, no idea where that came from, but I had to do it. During that time I had some vivid dreams. One where I woke up paralyzed and floated through my wall to a waiting saucer. One where I woke up paralyzed to a tall grey looking down at me. One particularly frightening one where I fell asleep on my stomach, woke up paralyzed, and could feel my covers being removed from my back. It's at this point that I should point out that even though I call these dreams, I can't really tell if they actually are dreams or are real. First off, a lot of them begin with me waking up in bed paralyzed. Second, a lot of them just involve me being compelled to go someplace while awake and getting abducted and have no unrealistic elements aside from the aliens. I lucid dream a lot and reality check myself pretty often. I think I know when I am dreaming. These are not like that. They are just dream-like memories of going into my backyard or something, and again, the setting and contents of the memories are totally ordinary. My house, the usual contents of my house, nothing strange or fantastical, and aliens. Anyway, rambling. I developed the habit of staying up all night and had a mental breakdown as a result. I would stand there on that balcony, just far enough from the door of my parents' bedroom that I did not cast a shadow underneath it, and watch those windows all night, counting every single minute until sunrise. The spot where I stood eventually developed telltale imprints of my feet. Sometimes I would hear that buzzing and dread what was coming. Sometimes I would fall asleep despite all of my efforts. Most of the time, I would just stand vigilant for hours, That's where my insomnia comes from. The only nights I felt safe sleeping were ones where everybody else was up or the weather was particularly stormy. We did move eventually, and I was glad to be out of there. Sometimes I feel like that shit is finally over, for years at a time, only to get a nice reminder that moving houses does not make a difference. One time in high school, I came downstairs at night to find my front door wide open. When I went to check it, I found both of my sisters standing outside and looking up towards the sky. I asked them what they were doing, and they told me that they were watching the stars fly around. Creepy as hell. And I do sometimes wake up feeling like I've been abducted. It happens no matter where I go. My aunt died suddenly and started terrorizing her house and my family's house. We live close by. My dad called the local priestess to find out why she is still haunting her and his house. Some relative came over to observe the priestess's ritual. Her spirit told us that she was killed by black magic. Everyone went, "What the hell?" We knew that she was suing some guy who has cheated her claim to a land and sold it to someone else. She said both of them work together and employ witch doctors to kill her subtly. Dad was worried since he took over to claim the right to the land for court. The whole family might get killed. My family maid knows a guy who can help. The guy used to actually live with us when he was a kid. The guy flew over, and we brought him to my late aunt's house the next day. He looked around and instantly said that she was blind when she died. Yes, she was blind before she died. He also said that it actually was not her time to die, and told us she was killed by black magic with supernatural help. My whole family was completely shocked. We did not tell him a single thing, but as soon as he got here, everything that he said was completely correct. He even manages to point out where my late aunt's ghost is. He noticed some weird energies around some trees around my aunt's house and asked if he could go and dig around. We helped him dig where he pointed and found some weird metal objects. He told us that weird negative beings are actually roaming around her house because of these metal objects, probably for protection, but he said it can be harmful to us. Dad told him he always sees a large shadow where the metal was planted. He ran for his life every single time. We cleansed the whole area and made an invisible shield to protect the family from any negative magic or beings. Nothing negative can enter the area. Told us that every good deed, charity or prayers done, the shield gets stronger. We thanked the guy profusely and he flew back home. Fast forward a few months. I was getting ready for my college graduation. It was haze season that day. One day before graduation, I was not feeling well. I felt like I was choking, and I thought it was due to the haze. I can't sleep well due to the feeling of being choked. My parents were worried as I was having rough breathing. I woke up feeling very weak. I cannot even swallow my breakfast. I end up puking in the toilet without stopping. My parents quickly realized something was very wrong and decided to call the previous guy who helped us. I lose consciousness as soon as I heard his voice. I didn't really black out. More like I could hear his voice, but I cannot control my body and my eyes would not open. I suddenly started to laugh. It wasn't me, but I knew it was happening. I was still in my body while it was happening, but it wasn't me doing it. I knew I was possessed or something. I saw a really old lady in my inner conscience, my inner mind. Man, I got angry. My body started thrashing and laughing uncontrollably. My dad, twice my size, had a hard time trying to stop my thrashing. The guy told my mom to take a cup of water and he prayed over it. He gave my unconscious body a drink, but was refused, badly. The guy told my dad to pinch my nose so that my body is forced to drink the water. He started calling my name to return my soul to my body. Suddenly, my body stopped thrashing, but my dad saw that my eyes had gone completely white. It freaked me out when my dad told me. The guy told my mom to put her fingers on my forehead while he started praying again. After an hour, I returned back to consciousness. The guy told us that it was lucky he was called quickly. If not, my soul would have drifted away from my body, taken by the old lady. He said it was a malevolent spirit, and I would have ended up dead. My whole body is aching, and I am tired, so I had no choice but to miss my graduation ceremony. That damn ghost. After coming back, My parents decided to ask the guy if he could come over to help us again. He said yes, and we quickly booked a flight for him. He gave me a weird look the instant he saw me, but said nothing. I decided he would tell me later. After having a moment to rest, the guy then told us that the two guys who had killed my aunt sent a lot of negative energies, spirits, jinns, etc. toward the house. He noticed that I was very depressed and stressed. It was due to my studies. I told him how did he know, and he replied that the energy around me was very negative, and so spirits were about to enter into me. He decided to communicate with the spirits inside of me. My body goes unconscious again, and my body was vibrating suddenly. He managed to find one spirit inside of me and befriend it. He asked the spirit to show him if there were many spirits in the house. My head can only nod, because it seems that this type of spirit cannot talk human language, but rather it growls and grunts. My body starts to move on its own with my eyes closed. I am not moving at all. It's whatever this thing is. The spirit pointed to each corner using my body, where there were ghosts, etc. Some on the corner of my brother's room, some on his bed. One was on my bed, and there was some on my parents' room ceiling. The guy then told the spirit controlling my body to tell him where is the spirit's leader. My hand pointed upwards. He ordered the spirit to bring down the leader. My body suddenly sat up, and suddenly, in my conscious mind, I felt like I was pulling something down. Now my body was taken over by the leader. I know this because I almost felt it. I felt something leave my body, and I felt something cold start touching my chest and eventually disappear. And then I felt this little jolt when it had gone in. The guy questions the leader and was able to befriend it. He finds out an imp is the leader. He asked the imp how the other spirits were able to enter into the house area since there is a shield protecting the area. The imp told him through the food that the whole family eats. The guy then asked the imp what is their purpose for coming here, and surprise surprise, it was to kill the whole family. It turns out that we were given as a sacrifice. The guy then asked the imp who sent them, and again, it is the two guys who cheated my late aunt. The guy decided that that was enough information and told the imp to leave my family alone and to bring the other spirits away from my family where he will destroy them. The next morning, I woke up and I was possessed again. My brother found me just laying on the bed, breathing heavily and crying. He woke the guy to try to help me wake up. He starts praying again and calling my name. I suddenly stop crying, and he starts talking to the spirit controlling me right now. Bear in mind, I'm conscious for all of this. It's like I'm a passenger in my body. It's like I'm in the back seat of my mind. After a few minutes of talking and shouting at the spirit, it turns out that this spirit is protecting me. It brought my soul back into my body and was fighting off other negative spirits. One by one, the guy found out that I had inherited my ancestors' protectors. My paternal side of the family has a long line of headhunters and priestesses, and thus, they have acquired a lot of spiritual protectors, mostly in animal shape. My grandmother used to be a local priestess, and it seems these things are passed down to me. I found out that I have 7 guardians inside of me, and they were not able to manifest themselves because the spiritual door inside of me was closed. The guy then cleanses me and told me that with the guardians now free, I will be able to see, hear, and smell spirits, ghosts, etc., but that I would not fear them. What the guy says is true. Within a week, I saw so many spirits circling around my home area. One in particular was a gigantic thing with fur covering its body. That shit was weird, but somehow, it was not that scary, but more odd to me. Since it was getting really dangerous for the family, the guy decided to put some kind of shield around each of my family. Any negative energy or spirit tries to enter into us, the energy would bounce back. Before going back home, the guy orders the protectors inside of me to fight off any being that wants to hurt or disturb my family. He warns me though, that I would feel fatigue every day due to the protectors using my energy to protect my family. And this for now is one of the few experiences I have with spirits and the like. Believe it or not, it all depends on you, but I have experienced all of these things. It still feels weird talking with the protectors inside of me. I ask myself sometimes, why are the spirits, etc. in Southeast Asian countries more aggressive compared to other countries? Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. This all started when I was about 7 years old. All is fine, and out of nowhere, Fire in the Sky is broadcasted in the afternoon on TV. That shit messed me up, and it messed me up even more when the biggest national news show made a report on the Travis Walton case. My mom puts her hand over my eyes so I cannot see most of the report. It just makes everything worse. I am scared shitless of aliens until I'm about 12 or 14 years old when I start reading more about UFOs. I realize that the odds are minimum to have an encounter like that. I still have a lot of fun reading and studying about the phenomena. Fast forward to 2010. I'm 20 years old now. Ufology is still a hobby. I have been dating this small town girl for a few months. She's beautiful, very kind, an amazingly sweet person. Somehow, the alien talk shows up. Yeah, I don't like to talk about this subject anon. I would rather not. Let's talk about something else. I realize that she is also scared, just like I was when I was younger. There's no need to be upset. The chances to have a close encounter are very, very unlikely. There's an awkward silence, followed by some water in her eyes and a fragile voice answering, "Yeah, that's speculation. It's just not enough to avoid them from coming at night. I am just trying hard to maintain my poker face." Fast forward a year, it's now 2011, and we talked about aliens a couple of times. She says that she is sometimes visited by humanoids that come in through her apartment window. They have big heads, big black eyes, and sleek yellow skin. There's also another kind that is taller and looks more human, but both look and feel evil, as if they don't mean any good. I can barely even keep my poker face anymore. I just don't believe it. She has a very powerful imagination, and these stories are certainly just dreams and fear of strangers. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist. Also, those yellow aliens do not really match up with anything I've heard before, so I don't know. I just do not think about it a lot. She is a cutie, and no woman is below a 4 out of 10 in crazy. She sleeps in my house pretty often. We usually watch a movie, order some pizza, shower, some pillow talk, and go to sleep. It's cozy and comfy, and all is right. We do this every now and then, about 2 or 3 weeks every month. Everything is cool. Then one night, out of nowhere, we both wake up way past midnight. There is a blinding light coming in through my window. There is this shitty noise annoying the hell out of me. It's like that white noise that you hear when you turn on your TV, but way louder. What the hell is going on? My systems are overrunning. My brain is thinking at 1,000,000 miles a minute. My bed is just below the window. I jump out of bed with my heart racing. My GF does the same, through the other side of the bed. I spread the curtains, and the blinding light enters the room even more. I can't really see anything, it's too bright. I use my hand and the wooden parts of the colonial-style window to shield some of the light and try to understand what is going on. My eyes finally adjust. There it is, hovering 2 or 3 feet above the ground. This strange, sideways egg-shaped object on the gate of the front house, below the light post and energy cables the post tethers. It glows bright white in the middle, and has a bluish-purple glow in the outer rim. It was not hovering still. It had a strange movement pattern, as if it was flickering. It seemed as if it was moving in all the axes, X, Y, and Z, very, very quickly. It felt like film grain, very erratic and unpredictable. My mind goes blank. I have absolutely no idea what to do or how to react. I just stay there, cold sweating, looking at that. I have never been so scared in my life. My mind feels like an empty dark room. I cannot move. My girlfriend touches me on the shoulder. Something is wrong with her face. I can't really tell what it is. She tells me, "Close the curtains, let's go to sleep." I turn towards the window, close the curtains, lie down in bed, and I simply shut down. I wake up the next morning. It's a Sunday. I rush out of bed. She gets up soon after, with a different look than usual. It's clear to me that something really happened. She avoids eye contact with me, and my mind is somewhat slower than usual, even for a Sunday morning standards. I want to talk about this with her, but I'm also scared, and I know how much she hates to talk about this kind of stuff. I want to be a good man and protect her, and if I talk to her about last night's experience, I might make her feel uncomfortable and insecure whenever she comes around. I do not want to seed fear inside her mind. I have to cope with this. Whatever, screw it. Maybe it was a bad dream, who knows? Yeah, it's strange that I have absolutely never dreamt about UFOs or aliens before. Absolutely never dreamt about my house either. There was also nothing physically strange with my dream. I usually dream with shifting colors, shifting lengths, and a lot of people. I also don't think I could ever recall the beginning of a dream. And for some reason, this one begins and finishes in the exact same place I had slept the past night. I think it was real, but at the same time, I think it might be a new kind of dream. It's strange. I just doubt that I experienced that, and at the same time, I doubt that it was a dream. Fast forward a couple of more years, it's 2014, and nothing like that ever happened again. I'm still dating the same girl. I see this thing on the news and it looks exactly like the thing I saw. I am really confused. I decided to talk with my girl about what happened. She says she actually remembers waking up one night with a very bright light coming through the curtains, but she does not remember anything else after that. It's messed up, and the worst thing ever is that I cannot prove anything to myself. Just a note that the OP included a link to a YouTube video about the thing he saw on the news, but that video is no longer present on YouTube, so yeah, sorry. I got pulled out of my truck when I was in 11th grade. Nothing really paranormal, but I was driving home late one night after dropping a friend off across the county. It was late and I drove a 4x4 with a lot of extra lights on it, because I liked it. It looked cool and was bright as hell. So I took an old logging trail that used to cut through the center of the backcountry, but the bridge went out like 20 years ago, so you could only really use this road if you could drive in and out of the creek. So I get through the creek just fine. I said hello to the gator that lives there, and was about 4 to 5 miles away from the next county-maintained road, and I was approaching an uphill curve. So, gearing down and getting ready to take the curve, which was really sharp and the road is shit, and I see lights starting to crest over. There is like 1, maybe 2 houses on the road before the creek. So I ease towards the right side and begin to lean over to turn off my lights when a Chevy S10 pickup crests and comes flying towards me. Picking self-preservation over the other driver's ability to see, I left my lights on and drove my truck into the ditch. The S10 flies past and I'm all like, what a dick, and get back on the road and continue. About 3 miles away from the big road, I see headlights behind me, gaining ground. I am driving a 4x4 with Mud Dog Pro Comp mud terrains, so I'm usually doing about 30 to 45 on these roads, but cautious as hell, so no one should really catch up to me. I wait for blue lights because generally it would be a deputy wondering why I'm out here. No blue lights, so I speed up. I get up to about 60 before the first paved road. It's in the back of a small subdivision, but the lights are gaining on me still, so I say screw the stop sign and speed limit and speed up. I come up to the next road, which is a GA state highway, so I slow down. But the lights are almost right behind me, so I attempt to jump through a gear, but overshoot and bog down my truck. Just as I get my shit straight and go to take off, the lights are pulling next to me. A Mead logging truck, a big paper company, speeds by in front of me, forcing me to slam on the brakes, and the truck that has been chasing me slams into the rear of my truck. Joke's on him. The ball hitch on my truck put a huge hole in his radiator. It was that S10 that almost hit me earlier. Some old dude gets out, screaming about calling the cops and grabs my door handle, but my truck is locked. My mom is a county deputy, so I'm all, hell, call the cops. That's your mistake, bud. But, being a dumbass high school kid, I forgot that since it's like September and 100 degrees outside, my windows are down, so the guy reaches in, unlocks the door, and pulls me out. I grab the T-ball bat that I kept in the space between the door and my seat, but he rips it away from me and pushes me up against my truck. He quickly asks who my parents are, and luckily, my parents are pretty well known around the county, my father being a building inspector, and my mother the deputy. Small-ass middle GA county. He knew them by name. So he started screaming at me, "I'm gonna call your dad," which of course I'm just like, "Oh, you want me to call them for you? Please call them." Apparently, he was upset about my KC lights and wanted to let them know how generous he was that he did not call the cops because of me blinding him as he was about to hit me head on. Phone call end. Huh, you are lucky that I have a son who escaped the Marine Corps, and I know that your parents will handle this. He gets in his truck and drives off. I remember something about him having to call a tow truck due to the damage my ball hitch inflicted upon his radiator. So, I go home all freaked and whatnot and talk to my dad about what happened. My mom was going to get some deputies together and either arrest him or shoot him, but my dad talked her down. I explained to him what had happened. My dad told me that this guy is a convicted felon for shooting his wife in the back as she was running away from him. As the story goes, he told the deputies that arrested him that if he wanted to kill her, he would have shot her in the head because he knows how to shoot, which is in all reality true. He's a great shot. He is also a known cocaine and heroin abuser, possibly inbred, and just a plain stupid fuck. His wife is a school bus driver and stayed with him after he shot her. Yay, public education. Not really creepy, but at the time, I was scared shitless. So many things I wish I would have done at the time, looking back, but I guess I was just lucky that he did not kill me or some shit.